Hey, welcome to another episode of Making Dough Show, where we talk about making dough in the restaurant business. And today I get to answer Khalid's question. And he's asking me about, my thoughts on they're about to lease a space that used to be a restaurant. The hood is there. The kitchen has no equipment. And it has a bar, flooring, and bathrooms. So as I'm reading this, if you're tuning in, I'd like you to evaluate and process this opportunity that has come his way with me as we're going to go through this. But so he's telling me essentially it is ready to be a restaurant. You just need all cooking equipment, tables and bar equipment. The cost is $0 upfront, just the monthly lease. For a 3,700 square foot place, the starting price is about $6,000 per month, including taxes. Okay, Khalid, I'm gonna tell you this, friend. I want you to be successful, and I mean, you know what I mean? I'm not tied to this, whether this goes through or it doesn't go through. I'm going to give you some hard tips, and I hope that you take it, you discern what's best for you and your family. So first, I wanted to tell you again, thank you for tuning in and thank you for submitting your question. I do feel honored that you would want to hear my thoughts on this, and it means the world. So let's get into it. First, you're telling me that this establishment has absolutely no kitchen equipment. So when I hear that, I was like, this place used to be a restaurant. What happened to it, right? First, I would want to know that. Maybe you know that information. This place used to be a restaurant. So they sold the restaurant. And not only that, their exit strategy was to remove and sell, I don't know, is the word liquidate? I have no idea what the word is. They sold all the equipment. Maybe they auctioned it out. That tells me the business wasn't good enough to even sell the business. You can go and buy an existing restaurant with all the equipment in it. And then there is this non-hard asset value of a restaurant, which is, the clienteles you have and things of that nature that adds to, right? For example, we purchased our first restaurant for $140,000 based on the gross sales and blah, blah. There are many factors involved. I'm looking at this opportunity that you're telling me. It tells me that the restaurant that was there for whatever reason was not even able to be to a level that they would sell the business. They sold the assets. So I would look into that. I would like, who were these people? What was the restaurant? How long were there? What did they do right? What did they do wrong? So that's one I would tell you to investigate. The second thing I wanted to tell you is to be a little bit careful when you're telling me the cost is $0 upfront. The cost of signing that lease, maybe it's $0. Obviously, you need to put a deposit down. So it's $6,000 per month. You need to put a deposit of whatever it is. You need to put the deposit down and the rent. They charge you upfront. So that's $12,000 right there. Give or take, you know what I mean? I'm just rounding stuff up for this place. The purchasing of equipment and the tables and the chairs and the plates, and do you need ovens? Do you need stove? Do you need fryers? I don't know what cuisine you're going to do. If the restaurant is 3,700 square foot, I'm estimating, which it's an ill estimation, is probably $50,000 to $70,000 of what you need. Now, you could go buy brand new equipment, or you can buy auctioned secondhand equipment. There are pros and cons to that. You already know that. We purchased a restaurant, our second restaurant. We bought it for like $40,000. It had equipment in it, which was previously purchased probably at an auction, and they were not new. And we had to purchase make line and all of that within like 2 months into that establishment. So we purchase equipment that are secondhand all the time, and sometimes we buy brand new. It depends on the case and the scenario and the offer. There are a lot of restaurants, sadly, that are going out. You should be able to get some good deals in auctions right now. But don't think that that's not going to cost you money. That's going to cost you a lot of money. The sign on the door alone is going to probably cost you $3,000 to $4,000. Just, I'm telling you, because you're thinking upfront is $0. It's not $0. I'm thinking you need $70,000 upfront that you need to put in between purchasing all the equipment and all that. Another thing I wanted to tell you is that this restaurant is 3,700 square foot. That tells me the main dining option focus is dine in. If you have such a large square footage, obviously you have to pay hefty rent for. So how are you going to create, you have to think about it. The concept and the model, thing that you have in mind, it needs to be heavily dine-in. You still need to have pickup and delivery because we live in a world where you really need to have those options available. You already know that the world is not what it used to be. So you're going to be dine-in, pickup and delivery. Dine-in, you need to be able to offer a unique experience. And for you to analyze how that's going to go or what to serve, I wanted to recommend you check out a video that I've done before where I go over 12 factors to consider before you consider a location, because you need to do an analysis of all the restaurants that are 3 to 5 mile radius of your restaurant and see what's working for them, what's not working for them, what are they selling, what are their price points, what are their decors, how are you going to be different? If you're going to be another Mexican restaurant and serve the same things, it's going to be hard for you to thrive very fast if you're not going to be nothing new, if those other establishments are really established in the community. So you need to do an analysis of the restaurants in the 3 to 5 mile radius of the restaurant. Second thing, you need to do an analysis of all the restaurants that are 3 to 5 mile radius of your restaurant. To do is to do a demographic and psychographics analysis of your restaurant. So for me, I would want to know how many people live in the 3 to 5 mile radius of this location. You can get that information from your local Chamber of Commerce of where the restaurant's located. You can go to the Chamber of Commerce or go to where the mayor's office is. What's that called? City offices. You can go and request that information, the psychographics and the demographics. It's also going to tell you about the income levels of that restaurant. If you're thinking of having a very chic, fancy decor restaurant, but the income level is 30, 40K a year, that may not be a good idea. Do you know what I mean? So when you are evaluating a location for a restaurant, friend, you need to be careful because there are so many variables involved. And from your your question obviously is one paragraph, and you and I have not met in person for you to tell me this whole story, but I really hope you consider the many factors and variables that are going to affect your decision. So if you're just looking at a location, rent is this much, I need to buy equipment, upfront is zero, that's not enough data to make a good decision. So get that information in the demographic, the psychographic, get that location PDF that I have, and check out that video in the description so you can properly analyze this location to see if it's a good idea for your restaurant or not. Last tip that I have for you, that you must have done the math already, and if not, we're gonna have a problem. I have another video because I get this question all the time. You must do a basic math that's going to take you 5 minutes, 3 minutes of figuring out what needs to be your break-even point based on your rent. When you're going to get a location of a restaurant, you have very few data. If your source of information, friend, is just your broker has an invested interest in closing this transaction. When we got our first restaurant, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars per year below break-even. What did the broker say? This is a cash cow, blah, blah, because he hasn't, don't be naive. They want your money, friend. Of course, they're going to tell you this is a great thing. Upfront cost is going to be zero, blah, 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 whatever. You know what I mean? So maybe your broker is brilliant. I'm just telling you, use a lot of salt. Take everything with a grain of salt, if you know what I mean. So let's do this math. If this restaurant is, you're telling me rent is about $6,000 a month. Let's do this math together right now. I'm going to have the link below on how I do this math. It's a basic algebra math that a 10-year-old can do. So if the rent is $6,000, depending on the restaurant, but average rent is going to be about 8% of your gross sales. I want to know, where should my gross sales be for this restaurant to be profitable? That's an incredibly important number, because if we're not going to be profitable, there's nothing to work with. This is going to be incredibly stressful hobby for you. So let's do the math. So it's 6,000 over X equals 8 over 100, because you want it to be 8%. X comes down to $75,000 a month. So in order for this restaurant to hit break even, more or less, you need to be making more than $70,000 a month at that location. Okay, gross sales, basic, fantastic. That comes to average daily of $2,500. that's going to be that. Okay, if you're going to have an average of $2,500 and if your average ticket is $25, I don't know what menu you're going to have, that means you're going to need an average of 100 tickets of 100 homes per day. So then you're going to analyze, okay, how much marketing do I need to do, or what kind of marketing do I need to do? How many people live in a 3 to 5 mile radius of this restaurant? That gives you an idea. I wanted you to have done that math. Hopefully, I'm going to have the link down below for you to see exactly how I do that math. But you need to be making about $70K a month to be able to be profitable. Now, that could happen in month 1, 2, 3, depending on your marketing effort, depending on all that stuff. I'm thinking usually when you get a shell, it's going to take you about 90 days to set it up as well. Average. You could do things very differently, and I understand that. But think about the worst case scenario. Plan for that, because then you're going to be cruising. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm trying to give you a realistic view. Restaurant is very expensive. Equipment breaks all the time. When we got our second location, actually, it was, we bought this pizzeria. It wasn't successful. Before the pizzeria, that place was an insurance office. And we didn't know. So that when we would come and check this restaurant, it would be fully closed. Obviously, ovens were not running. And then, so we bought this restaurant, as I told you, about $40K or something like that. And then, so they would never turn off the bottom oven. Well, because maybe the sales wasn't there or something for this pizzeria. So we go in there, and within day 1, it turns out the AC unit was appropriate for the insurance office, but was not able to handle the capacity, wasn't able to handle the ovens. So that first week, we had to cough over another $10K that we had not accounted for. We dragged it 2 to 3 weeks or 4 weeks, but in the restaurant, it's a small square footage, like 900 square footage to pick up a delivery place, the temperatures would go to 110 degrees. If you know what I mean, customers would come in like, what on earth is going on here? So we had to cough over another 10K that was fully unexpected, and that hurt a lot. So I wanted to tell you, make sure you have a realistic view and have a lot more money cushion for unexpected things, aside from the expected things. So I wish you the best. I want you to be successful. Of course, that's why we're having this conversation. That's my main goal with the show. I'm a restaurant owner just like you, got 4 kids, and we're busy. Again, I want to serve you. So I hope that you were able to take some of the stuff that I told you, sprinkle some salt on it with a grain of salt, do your due diligence, seek counsel of other people beyond just a broker to assess if an opportunity is a good opportunity. Restaurants can be very profitable or not. So there are many factors involved, and I do wish you the absolute best. Let me know your thoughts on this, and thank you for tuning into this show. If this is, if you're not subscribed to Making Dough Show, what are we doing here? Please subscribe. And then if you have any questions you'd like me to cover, or any topics that you'd like me to go a little bit deeper on the show, I'd be happy to do that. Go to our website, www.makingdoughshow.com. Scroll all the way down and submit your question. I'll be happy to serve you in any way that I can. And with that, let's get back to work and make some dough. Thank you. Bye-bye.